Hello guys, my name is Matt and today I'm going to talk about the differences between the Matika DTD152 and the Dewalt DCD776. These are two products that I was recommended by some of the guys that I work with. They're in Formula One manufacturing. They use it in their assembly and trim department for drilling and assembling different bits of the cars and stuff through carbon fibre. And also got recommendations for the same Matika drill from a builder that we know, and so I found the products on Amazon, and I wanted to do a quick comparison between generally what's good about an impact driver versus what's good about a drill, a cordless drill. Because when I started researching, I didn't understand what the actual impact from an impact driver was doing, and I found that it's actually a torsional impact. So it's kind of like the kind of gun that they use in the pit lane of a Formula One race, where they screw the wheels onto the car, and you hear that kind of noise, and it's actually impact on a torsional rotation, and that allows the screw to slip through into the wood faster. And so that was a new thing that I learned, and I thought that would be useful for you guys. And the drill itself is kind of more for a multi-purpose drilling through stuff. This has actually got a hammer setting on it, so you can drill through things like masonry if you've got a proper masonry drill bit, and you can use it as a screwdriver itself. For the quick answer, I would go for the Matika all day for the purpose of screw driving stuff, driving stuff into wood, doing lots of stud work, and I've got currently in my garage doing a bit of building work and putting these studs and stuff together and doing all the battens and things like that. There are so many screws that need to go in, and I originally bought a drill from I went to a car boot sale and bought some random drill for £5, and it died super quickly. I had 2 battery packs and I thought, oh, you know what, I'm gonna charge one while I'm using it, and then use the other one in the actual drill itself, and I found that both batteries died pretty quickly because it was super old, and I just chucked it away. So I was in the market for something new for screwing stuff in and drilling, and came across these 2 products. I suppose one of the biggest things you notice when you're using the differences between the 2 are the noise. So I'll give you a quick demonstration of what the impact driver sounds like. I've got a screw in the pocket, and I've got a bit of wood that I need to screw into. So here's a view of what the impact driver sounds like. So that's all the way in now. And that was a 80mm screw. And I'll do a quick comparison with the screwdriver now. So just to let you know, the impact driver has a kind of a click mechanism that holds the impact driver insert in, and to get it in and out, you basically need to pull the mechanism forward and then pull the drill bit out, the screw bit out. So it's got like a grip on the inside that holds this with a hexagon type fitting, and then you can change the screw bit on the end, and it's got a magnetic. But there's lots of different ones of these, but you have to use one that looks like that to fit into the impact driver. It's like it's called an impact driver bit, but the drill has a chuck on the end of it. And this particular, it's the DCD776 model, has a 13mm max for its drill bit size. So the maximum size you can fit in there is 13mm, and it goes all the way to 0. And it holds really small drill bits quite easily, actually, because it's quite a good chuck. It doesn't wobble around very much, so you can get all the way down to 1.5mm in the chuck. So it's good from that point of view. It's got quite a big range for holding different size screw bits and also drill bits. So I'm going to put this impact driver bit into the drill, holds nice and tight. And the thing that's good about this is it actually has a little ratchet inside which grips super tight down onto the actual drill bit that you're using. So you can hear it at the last minute. That last little bit of clicking is it clamping down super tight. So I've actually damaged some drill bits because it clamps so tight, but I've been drilling through really hard materials like steel, so I expected to get some damage and I wasn't being particularly careful at the time, so it kind of tore the outside of the drill bit, but it's good because you know it's not going to slip in there, so it's really good for that sort of purpose. Now I'm going to give you a bit of a sound for what this is like when it's drilling in. So that was a really good example of what the difference is in terms of sound, but also if you could hear that like tapping sound, that was actually the drill bit itself, the screwdriver bit, sorry, slipping on the posi drive head of the screw. So I'll get a screw example for you. So I put the screwdriver head into the posi drive end of the screw, and what it was actually doing was it was popping out like that slightly and then twisting around and then going back in as I was screwing it in. And that happens not only because of wear on the screwdriver bit, but also because it's not as easy for this drill to drill into and have the resistance of the wood as it is for the impact driver, because it's impacting on that turn. So it actually has, this one has far more opportunity for when you take your hand off slightly or don't put full pressure, it can slip a bit. But one of the solutions to that is to put it on a slower setting. So at the moment it's on 2, it's on forward 2, so now it's on 1. Sorry, it was on 1 before. So on 2 it's worse on 2. So if you're going on full speed, you'll get a lot more slipping. So that was a good example before. So one of the, yeah, I would say that from that point of view, I think that's what made me feel that the impact driver was better in terms of speed and also the convenience of screwing screws into wood and things like that, because you don't get that slipping going on, because it's just a lot easier you don't get the slipping of the drill bit and the screw going on. It's just easier to kind of penetrate through the wood. But this particular drill itself is quite torquey. It's got it's 18 volt 4 amp, and this one is 18 volt 3 amp battery, and you can put a 4 amp on this Matika, so you can get the life and the power out of it, because volts times amps equals watts, which is power. But the this drill in particular, you can see when you're using it, you can see that it's got a lot of power. It sparks. That sparking will go away eventually, because it's actually just the drill. It's quite fairly new, so it's just the drill wearing itself in on the brushes. But you can feel the weight of this. That the motor is good, and that the battery and the motor together work nicely. And this one is just the same. Like, the motor and the battery are a good combination for the bundle that I bought, so I'm quite happy with it from that sense. This drill does last longer because it has a higher ampage, so it actually gets more. It has a higher watt rating. 18 times 4 is 72 watts. So if you're running it on full speed all the time, and you're using the full 4 amps, 18 volts, it will it will give you that full power from the motor, and it will give you that power for 1 hour. But if you're using it on slower speeds, like that, it will last much longer. So you don't, like, the advantage of having a larger battery is that it will last longer and give you more capacity for power. But if you have a smaller battery, it will give you less capacity for power and last less long at those higher speeds. So there's something to think about if you are looking at which batteries to get. I've got the battery chargers of both of them here, so I can show you what that sounds like. The Matika has a supercharger battery, which is quite cool, and you can hear the fan going in it because it needs to keep itself cool. So this one charges a lot faster than the Dewalt drill battery charger, which is an advantage, especially if you're trying to get a job done quickly and you run out of battery and you're like, oh crap, I really need a quick bit of juice. You can just put it in for like 5 minutes and it gives you an extra bar of battery again. So yeah, I'll give you that example. So we've got both buttons here, and this is the Dewalt charger being plugged in, Dewalt battery being plugged in. You can see that's pretty silent, and so the battery will be charged when this red light stops flashing and it's constant, and then it will protect the battery by no longer charging it when it's fully charged. But when you plug the Matika battery into the charger, this is a supercharger. So as soon as I plug it in, you start to hear the fan going. And with the Matika charger, this red light will stay red until the green is then full, so you'll know it's full and it's fully charged, and then the fan will stop going and it will protect the battery from overcharging, which is also pretty good. And if you want to check the actual amount of charge the battery has, on both of the batteries there is a gauge at the bottom of it. So if you can see that, this one has 2 bar out of 3, and the 2 bar will only show when you're actually depressing the battery button. I don't know if you can see that. So there's a battery button there, and it will only show it when you're pressing it down. On the Matika, it will show it for about 30 seconds. So you can click it and it will, 5 seconds or so. Click it and it will show you that it's got 2 bar there, and that's 2 bar out of 4. So this charger, I think from flat, will charge this battery up in about 30 minutes, 25 minutes. So you can get 1 bar extra in about 5 minutes, because the more with batteries, especially lithium ion, it supercharges the up to 80% really quickly, and then the last 20% is super slow because it's got to find places for charged electrons to go within the battery. But with the Dewalt drill charger, the battery charges fully in about an hour, so it's slightly longer, and that's one of the reasons I kind of have my inclination towards getting an impact driver solely for screwing in purposes. I needed to get a nice drill for drilling through metal eventually, but if I had to choose between the two, I think that the usefulness of having a really quick impact driver is just, it far outweighs the need for having multi-purpose drill and screwdriver for doing both, because you'll just waste so much time on rounding off screw heads, and I'll show you I'll get the battery and the drills back together, and I'll show you the way that it weights in your hand as well. You actually get quite a lot more achy in your hand when you're holding the drill itself. So I'll just put these back in and quickly show you that. The ergonomics of it is slightly different. I'm holding the impact driver now, and you can see that the head of this impact driver is quite narrow, and the weight of it is all down the centre where my hand is holding, pretty much. And that's really good for if you're, like, for example, you're screwing through joists, and the joists are quite close together and you don't have much space. When you've got a screw plus the impact driver bit and the length of the body, that equals about 30 centimeters. So if you're in tight spaces, you've got that much to play with in order to get your screw in fully into what you're screwing into. I'll show you what it looks like. Let's take this one off. So put the impact driver bit on. So depending on how long your screw is, that's how much space you've got if you want to screw something in fully. And so that's quite a big deal when it comes to getting into small spaces, and that happens quite a lot more often than you might think. One example would be if I'm trying to screw in from the back of this. There's a cavity here, and sometimes I've had to get in from the back to get screws in, and you need that extra space sometimes just to fit the drill in. So that's the space that you've got. The other thing is that this hurts your wrist a lot less when you're holding it like that for long periods of time. If you're using it for the full hour and 10 or hour or so that this battery will last, then it doesn't. This part of your wrist doesn't ache as much as the drill, because if you look at the drill, it's got quite a lot of weight in this chuck. The chuck itself is made from metal and plastic, but it's not fully balanced. It's not balanced straight down your wrist as the other one is, and I think that's quite a big deal when it comes to holding a product and using it for long periods of time. So that would be my advice on the two. So at the moment, heavily still weighted towards the impact driver in terms of which I think is a better product. But I still think this is a good drill. I just don't think that the scale of usefulness to if I was deciding between these two products and I wanted to only buy one, I would always go for the impact driver. I need this still for drilling holes, but if I only had to buy one, I would just get this one, because just the time saving. I just think the time saving of screwing in with this is just so much greater than this one. It's just too useful, and it's actually really not that expensive if you think of it in the amount of time that it saves you in screwing things in. I'll give you another example of how quickly it goes in compared to the drill, so you can see again. So I have two 80mm screws. Here's the impact driver. That's in now. Take this out. Now keep in mind this is on the lower setting, so on a slower setting, but I'll put it on the second setting just for you to see, but you'll hear a lot of rounding off of the screw and it damages the drill bit. go. It's a little bit cringy to watch. That was on the faster setting and it just slips. It just slips around. They're all the way in. The bottom one was the screwdriver. You can see that it's slightly rounded off the head there. It's kind of mangled it up. And then you've got the impact driver above. So there's the screwdriver below, mangled it slightly. There's the impact driver and you can see that it's pushed all the way in. This one is still slightly proud of the surface. And I did my best to push as hard as I could on both of those. So you can see there, still slightly proud of the surface on that one. And this one is all the way in. So those are my thoughts on both of the. Oh, there's one more thing. You might have noticed while I was using them that these lights turned on, and these lights are they automatically turn on as soon as you press the trigger. So you can turn it slightly, just very slightly, and it will turn the light on. Same with this one, and they both stay on for about 30 seconds. So if it's starting to get dark in the workplace and you're looking for your tools, it's quite convenient as a light, and it also helps with finding the position of the end of the screw, especially if it's starting to get dark and the light is not very good in the room. So that's really useful for both of them. It's a little bit annoying that you can't turn that feature off because it feels like you're wasting battery. But I think the usefulness of it outweighs the battery demand. And they're both LEDs, so they're not going to use much battery at all. So these two products, I hope you like the review. If you like the review, please give me a thumbs up. I've got a few more reviews going on, and I'm doing some electrical work in the garage. If you're interested in electricals, I'm going to give a complete guide to how to do your lighting, ring main, and connect it up to the consumer unit. So I haven't found anything online that gives you a complete guide step by step and showing and putting all the twin earth cable in. I've got an electrician coming around to do it, so I won't be doing it. But we're going to be paying him about £1,000 to actually do it. So it's something that I would have found useful if I'd seen it online, because then I could have done it myself. But just due to speed and getting it all finished on time, we're going to get someone else into it, but I'm going to share that with you. And also, if you liked either of the products that I've shown in the video, I put Amazon affiliate link in the link in the description. So if you liked it, please do use my link, because I will get a little bit of the percentage of the sale. And I'll keep on doing these review videos to give you my honest user opinion of each of the products. I will tell you if I didn't like it. For example, the drill, I wouldn't recommend you buy a drill over a impact driver, but I would recommend this drill in a 3 amp version rather than the 4 amp version, and you can buy those bits separately, because this is a really reliable drill itself. But if you do decide to, please use my Amazon affiliate link and it will go through to Amazon, and hopefully you'd like to help contribute to my channel. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers for watching. Bye bye.